You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
Well, hey there, all you triathlon freaks and geeks. This is Coach Brett with another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we go long on endurance and learn a lot about ourselves along the way. On today's show, we have a very interesting interview with Kai Blankner and also a race review of the race that he just did, the Austin Rattler. This race is a really big deal in the mountain biking world. It's one of the few qualifiers for the Leadville 100. So we're going to talk at length about how he did fueling, hydration, pacing, gear, and tactics. It's a 3-lap race of 60 miles. And on a mountain bike, that is extreme. And since it's a qualifier for the Leadville 100, the pace at the front was madness. There's some great details in there on how to support somebody coming in through the only aid station and how to hand them up stuff, and also what kind of decisions need to be made per lap. This is the real deal. This is high-end, front-of-the-pack racing. And at just under 5 hours, this would be the equivalent of somebody doing a pretty fast half Ironman. So we can take lots of what comes out of this conversation and apply it to ourselves. And if the name sounds familiar, Kai Blankner is my son. And I couldn't be more proud that he has developed into a front-of-the-pack top age grouper and becoming an elite level pro mountain biker whenever he decides to make the jump. Now, Kai is an interesting case of a combination of athletic talent and also growing up in a house with an Ironman for a dad, and his mom's extremely athletic too. And also, I was raised in a household with athletic parents that whenever a choice had to be made, it was always towards sports or health and fitness and bicycles instead of video games. And it's fine to be outside all day long on a bike and healthy meals and such. And my parents put my brother and I in every single sport that was available until we found one that actually worked. Several that actually worked for us. I remember my brother playing softball or kids baseball and throwing the bat into the stands. And my parents were like, okay, this is not the sport for him. And we both grew up playing soccer, and a lot of soccer actually, and then swimming and basketball. And a lot of what my parents were trying to do was wear us out, because an athletic kid that is worn out is a happy kid that probably gets better grades, and the whole household is probably happier that way. It's like a dog, a dog that runs is actually a well-behaved dog. So when Kai was really little, we could not keep him off of a bike, and he wanted to bike off-road all the time, he said, starting at age 3 or 2. And I would push him the baby jogger while I would run. And then eventually it was him riding on his little bicycle next to me while I'm running. And then it was trail running with him on his mountain bike. But, like a kid's mountain bike, those are real heavy, a lot of them. And so I'd have to push him up and over every little hill. But it was good bonding time. And then when he was, I think, 6, a local kids triathlon team had formed. And we put him on that. And Kai became one of the top triathletes in Texas. But he was never quite the fastest. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, how important that is. Because in a way, that's a good thing. And I had no problem with it. And then some point in his middle school years, the team folded. And he'd been playing soccer, again, trying to wear him out. And it's always good to be playing that sport. And he was also running track and cross country in his middle school. And in 8th grade, he won the 2-mile track run event, not just at his school, not just at the district, but I think at regionals. And I was like, And then when he played soccer, there's always that one kid on your team that's super fast and gets to the ball first and is like really aggressive. Kai was not that kid, but I wasn't that kid either. And I knew what was going on. It's a mix of, they're not quite that fast with fast twitch, but also there's somebody that thinks of strategy. I was always not the first to the ball because I was thinking, where do I need to be in the best place? And maybe that's not it right this second. I need to be somewhere else. And I was a really successful soccer player. I was player of the year on my teams, and a forward and a goalie and a halfback, everything. Really loved it. And I started to realize that Kai might have potential as a middle to long distance endurance athlete. At that time, I was thinking triathlon. But also, you have to remember, your kids are not you. You need to let them discover their own thing. My brother and I both became great swimmers. Neither one of my parents were on a real swim team or anything like that. But one thing for sure that was happening was I was going for long trail runs and long bike rides at Milliken Reserve. And what I would do was I would say, we're just going to go at your pace, Kai. And he's like, well, how far are we going to go? And I said, I don't know, but we're doing 2 hours because that's my long run. And that's why we're out here. I did a 2-hour run today, now that I think about it. But there's actually several things going on here. We've got a kid who's obviously not a super sprinter like Usain Bolt because he's not the fastest to the ball, but he loves playing. And he's like this third fastest to the ball, second, fourth, And then when the tournaments come and they're games all day long, other kids would burn out and he wouldn't. And he's grown up in a household, like I said, with a long distance endurance athlete who's showing him, hey, drink this, eat this, take a break, get off your feet. All these like different strategies, stay out of the sun. Here's how you keep a drink cool. Here's how you keep yourself cool. Here's how you don't get tired. You need to eat this now, and then you need to eat this other thing later. And they don't really understand at that age, but they're seeing that there's something going on. The general concepts that there are ways to actually be good at endurance that aren't obvious, and you need to learn it from people. So there's that. And then also a great way to make somebody hate a sport is to force them to do it. So everything was play, and everything was at the speed that he wanted to go, not him trying to keep up with me. And also with lots of little breaks mixed in. And that was to build this big aerobic base, this big engine. And then another thing that I have seen in my youth growing up on sports teams, and I pointed out to Kai multiple times, was it's okay to not be the fastest in middle school and in high school. That's not when you want to peak. I remember when I went away to military school for a few years and then came back my senior year of high school, the athletic phenomenons that when I left, when I was a freshman, were not the athletic phenomenons when I got back. And some of them were my friends, and I would talk with them, and they just got burned out. Swimming is a really good example of one that burns you out. And lastly, I want endurance sports to always be there for Kai as a lifetime sport. You can swim, bike, and run your entire life if you don't get injured from trying too hard or doing too much. And also if it doesn't burn your life down and you end up hating it because you tried too hard to be too competitive too soon or for too much too long. So you can see how this magic mix. Oh, and also I've grown up seeing the results of parents that are overbearing and trying to make their kids do what they want them to do. So there was a lot of letting him pick his own path and do the sports that he wanted to do and only stepping in when it seemed like he was having trouble. Like, for example, his 9th grade track coach was running him into the ground and injuring him and literally said that he did not care that Kai was hurt in his foot. He was going to keep running him. And I was sitting there thinking, you got 4 years in high school to develop. It's your senior year when you're on varsity, making the most points for your team. You got a kid that wants to do this. He's obviously got talent. So you should just let him slow cook and do easy runs until the injury goes away and cut his volume maybe in half. And you have like a squad of kids like that on your team that are just on the back burner. You're waiting for them to develop into the phenomenons that they're going to be when they're seniors. And this coach wasn't having that. He was going to break Kai and permanently injure him. And I stepped in and said, no, we're quitting this. We're going to find a different sport. And then that's when we switched back to the mountain bike team. But again, you have this magic mix of an athletic kid that loves to do swim, bike, run, mountain biking, soccer, but he's not quite the fastest, but he is athletic. And then a parent who through all these years of Zen and the Art of Triathlon and interviewing the pros and the best coaches in the world and learning from the best clinics and the best experience, that as an endurance athlete, you peak like in your late 20s, early 30s. Now is not the time when you're in middle school or high school to kill yourself training. And the ones that are phenomenons in high school are almost, well, especially like middle school, they're almost never even in the sport anymore by the time they hit college. So since the goal is really long-term, let's just build volume by play. And then also try not to be an overbearing parent, leaving the door open all the time for him to do something else if he wants to. That way he doesn't hate the sport. My brother and I both, after college, really did not want to swim at all, any kind of swim team practice, because we got burned out on swimming, which is a very typical thing. But man, I grew up playing on a bicycle all around my neighborhood. You cannot get me off a bicycle still to this day. It is the best. And I ran some, but I didn't run tons and wasn't really competitive at it all through middle school and high school because I was swimming. And so running today to me is like really fun because I'm not burned out on it. So we've got this kind of like hands-off approach, just kind of seeing where it's going, which also coincidentally folds hand in hand with the right way to train big volume, is just to go easy and make it fun. And that also prevents injuries. And if it turns into something, then it turns into something. And if not, we had a good time anyway. When Kai was on the triathlon team, he actually raced against the kid that you'll see on a meme that says, I operate on another level. And it's the like 8-year-old kid with a teardrop helmet and a $10,000 bicycle on aero bars and those lightweight wheels that cost probably $5,000 each, all custom made. If you Google it, you can find that meme. That kid actually was in Kai's competition group. And we were watching a kid's triathlon. And in a way, it was kind of sad. I don't know how they've turned out or anything like that. But the kid finished the race, and as he finished the bike race, and as he took off on the run, the dad went over to the bike and pulled off a bike computer and started going through the numbers. Dude, for like an 8-year-old, in the meme picture, there's other people on bikes, little kids on bikes, like a little girl with a basket and tassels on it, you know? And the kid was great, but I got the feeling that he didn't really appreciate everything that he had gotten. He didn't work for it. It was all just given to him. And also the fanaticism of the parent was eventually going to drive a wedge between the kid and his dad. And that's another thing, is I always wanted to make sure that Kai and I had a good relationship. And that's why I don't personally coach him entirely myself. And we'll get to that in a second. So the triathlon team folded, and Kai was looking for another sport, and we got word that there was a kids mountain bike team. And it was a combination of the local middle schools and the 2 local high schools. So it's like a composite, it was a College Station composite mountain bike team. And they train out at Milliken, where Kai and I were trail riding and running for 2 hours at a time. And we met up with them out there for a practice. And the practice was one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen in my entire life. The kids all taking off on bikes into the woods with some parents at the lead and some parents at the back, and they're hooting and hollering and going over stuff and around trees, and they disappeared down into like a little valley, and they back up the other side, and they're having the time of their lives. And we're way away from the school, way away from like social pressure and trying to look cool in front of other kids, like say you were like doing track in the middle of a stadium, you know, at your local high school. It was the most organic, beautiful, natural, awesome thing. And I always commented on it about how cool of a sport this was. And I wish they had this when I was in high school. I would have done that and swimming. And also, they're out in nature 2-3 times a week. And you know, mountain biking has this natural stoke to it where everybody's like supportive and it's just fun. So some of our first practices with them, and then a race, I remember our first race, the coaches came up to me and said, dude, your kid is a machine. How is he so good already? He just joined the team. And I said, oh, well, we've been riding for years, and just nice, easy pace, building an aerobic base engine. And also he was on the kids triathlon team here before they folded. So he also knows how to race. And they were like, oh, interesting. So all through that last year of middle school and then high school, he was on this kids mountain bike team, racing all over Texas. And they start off like freshman does, we talk about it during the interview, freshman does 1 lap, and then, you know, sophomore 2 laps, 3 laps, 4 laps for varsity. And you work your way up to varsity. And Kai would always get like 3rd, 4th, 5th, you know. And I always told him, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Those kids that are winning right now, out of the 10 of them that are winning all the time right now, 2 of them are still going to be in the sport by the time you graduate. So don't worry about it. And also, we don't want to burn you out. We want you to have fun and just keep doing the big volume workouts. And your racing is your hard stuff. And let's just always make sure that it's fun, because I think you might have the capability to be great at this, but you don't want to peak now. Oh, and then also we were in Boy Scouts. We went camping once a month, so we'd miss some stuff here and there. But the camping and the high adventure backpacking and stuff really set the ground for even more love for the outdoors, and especially mountain biking. So back to the coaching. The mountain bike team had coaches, but they're just giving like very, very casual guidance. It wasn't like real coaching at all. It was more like safety stuff. And they eventually pulled me in as a coach. But again, same thing. My job was just to make sure that they had fun while they were out there and get them out there. But by his junior year, Kai started saying that he wanted to actually start winning. It was making him mad that other people were beating him. I'm like, here we go. He wants it, not us. He wants to be really fast. Now let's give him some tools. So then I really started explaining to him the science behind aerobic conditioning and what we were doing, and also the nutrition and hydration science to start going longer, because his races were getting longer and longer. And I had him on training peaks just for fun so he could get used to it, because at some point he's going to be coached by somebody that's coaching him on training peaks. And I was showing him heart rate graphs. But up until then, I think we didn't even have a heart rate strap on him. It didn't matter, just easy, right? No power meter, nothing. So because he started wanting it and it was his wants, then it was time to change it up a little bit. The first thing is the bike. He was on a Canyon Neuron, which is like a trail bike. It's almost a trail bike. It's not a cross-country bike. And he wanted it because it was fun. It had more suspension, right? Well, and also it was aluminum. So that's a heavy-ish kind of bike. And from all my bike nerdery, I started saying, you need to trim up your kit a little bit so it's not as baggy. You need to think about shaving your legs if you want to win. And then the other thing is we need to get you a different bike. I did back of the napkin math and figured out the weight of that bike versus the Trek Super Caliber was costing him about 30 seconds per lap. And in 3 laps, guess how much he was missing podium by? About a minute and a half. So I told him, we get you the actual correct bike, like the other kids are riding that are winning. You're already on the podium. And then I said, now another thing is you need more volume on the road, not on the trails. All the volume he was doing, he was going and mountain biking in the mountain bike park, which is a lot of stop, start, which is fine, but it doesn't give you the hours and hours that you need of just steady pace and big, long climbs like you get on the road. But there's a problem. I don't want a junior in high school out on the open road with all these cars. And by the grace of the triathlon gods and the biking gods, of the cycling gods, gravel biking had come out. And I talked about it in another podcast about how we got into it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a way for you to get in lots of volume way more safely on more remote roads than the roads that have a lot of traffic on it. I'm very cool with this. He's on roads with, a car every 10 minutes instead of, 10 a minute. And then we got him an indoor trainer so that he can do his rides whenever the weather's bad. I told him that's a big key. And then we got him a coach. And now you may be asking, why didn't I coach him? Well, I really love my dad and we really had some great times together, but I didn't get to quite spend as much time with him as I wanted to because he had a long commute or he's always working out of town or I was in military school. And when your dad is your coach, you have to be really lucky. It does happen on rare occasion. You have to be really lucky where you two get along because now you're making them do something and you're forcing them to do something and it may make them end up hating the sport. What I had found that worked really good for me and Kai was, hey, I'm going on a long bike ride. Do you want to come with me? And he's like, yeah, about 3 times out of 4. And for me to be competitive with him, oh, my time was faster than you on this one Strava section, or segment, or I bet I can beat you to the top of that hill. And so with my background in sports psychology, I knew it would be better for somebody else to coach him. And then also I knew something from my own experience is you want a coach that inspires you. And the age gap between me and Kai and also the sports difference, we're talking shorter distance, we're talking youth mountain biking, which is a shorter distance. It's long enough for them. And then versus Ironman, Ultraman, where the whole goal is to see how slow you can go, but for how long. They're not compatible. And also me being 45 years old and him being like 16, we're just not enough alike for me to be inspirational to him. Also, he grew up in the household with me. He's not that impressed with it. It's kind of like old news. But I heard Kai several times mention that this kid's being coached by Williams Racing Academy. This kid's being coached by Williams Racing Academy. Oh, look at their jerseys. Oh, they're on the Williams Racing Academy team. It's like, very interesting. So we reached out and found out it wasn't a team that you had to qualify for. It was just a coaching service. And if you're being coached, you're on the team. So basically you pay to be on the team. But that's pretty normal. And I'll never forget listening in on the first coaching interview with him. And Kai was so excited. And Kai was especially excited that the guy was younger and he had raced cycling specifically in Europe and was from Texas. So Kai could see himself in this coach, and the coach excited him. And so I'm like, that's what it takes. Kai's going to do the workouts this guy gives him. And then also listening to the coaching and also the first few coaching calls, the coaching plan and how they coach. Training peaks, CTL, chronic training load, TSS, training stress score. He wanted to build up Kai long-term over years. Kai mentioned that he wanted to be, eventually wanted to be like a gravel racer or a long-distance endurance mountain biker. And the coach said, that's unusual. We don't get that often. And I said, yeah, this is a long-term project. And he was good. Yeah, heart rate, power off the trainer, and everything that the coach said. I was like, whoa, this guy knows what he's talking about. I approve of this message. And a lot of Kai's early coaching calls, we would get off and I would just say, hey, I'm just here just to listen. And then we'd get off the call and then I'd say, okay, Kai, when he said this, this is what he meant. Like, this is how because I could see, being with Kai, like his eyes were kind of like, like, what is he talking about? Or eyes would glaze over. I'm like, what he's saying is actually how do you do what he's saying is like this. The Kai, oh, okay. So we're still doing what seems to work out really good. Kai comes to me continuously for advice. He just did it a couple days ago on fuels and how to build up his volume, like questions he doesn't really want to ask the coach, I guess. And then also like wheel choices and other gear and things that you just can't get from a remote coach, but you can get from somebody living with you or that you did live with. Kai's off at college right now, that can tell you, yeah, this works because of this. This doesn't work because of that. This is actually the most important thing, aerodynamics. And fuel, carbs. This is how you can carry that fuel. This is where on your bike the aerodynamics matter. This helmet's probably better than that one. This kit will probably work better. When to shave your legs, when not to shave your legs. I mean, just on and on. All the dumb stuff that I've accumulated that is also very important over all these years. And it's so wonderful when he actually comes to me and asks me. I'm like, God, he still remembers that I know this stuff. He still believes. Like the fuel one, just the other day, he sent me a link and a photo of some fuel that he was interested in taking. And I said, got to make sure it's got that NSF certification on it. Or SNF, I forgot what it's called. But anyway, it's safe in sport. And that means it's been verified that it doesn't have any doping stuff in it. And you won't pop positive on a test. If it doesn't have that, when you go pro and you start getting piss tested all the time, this is the kind of stuff that matters. So you might as well be in the habit now. And then Kai's coach from Williams Racing Academy, and they're cycling only, by the way, but their thing is they give him the specific workouts, and Kai has a coaching call with him. I think it's every 2 weeks, and they go over, how it's going, the specific, like how did this particular workout feel, why, and all that stuff I just leave alone. And then Kai rides with me on his long rides, and we talk on our long rides, and I give him advice or explain to him like why this works and why this doesn't. And it's wonderful. It's this perfect combination. And we're not driving a wedge between us as father-son. And it's just been fantastic. So anyway, all this is going on. And I think the summer during Kai's junior year, we sign up for the El Camino 205 gravel race. And it's 200 over 2 days. And you just do one day. You could do both days if you wanted to. And this was going to be Kai's longest ride race to date. Really vertical, gravel, really hilly, hot. And the whole plan was he was going to ride with me because he had never gotten into something this big before. We'd done a bunch of training rides together, and it was tough on that course. And they said, go. And we're riding together for all of about 10 seconds. And the front of the pack started taking off like rockets. And remember, he's supposed to ride with me, and we're going to go slow just so that he can finish because it's going to be so hard and so long. Kai looked back at me like 2-3 times, and I could tell he just wanted to go. And I was like, I nodded at him. I'm like, go, man, go. And he took off. And when I crossed the finish line, it turned out he had beaten me by 2 or 3 hours or something. And he was doing great, but he kind of bonked at one point and dropped off the front of the pack, but still did like really good. And it would have been terrible for him to have ridden with me. He really enjoyed riding with the people on the front, and he could do it. But he wasn't used to fueling and hydrating for that long. Didn't really believe like how important that is at that time. That's one thing that kids, as they get better and get older, they have to learn. This stuff actually does matter. They're not bulletproof. And so we're at the finish line hanging out, and Kai said, he fell off the front pack and rode by himself. Had to ride by himself for quite a while. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like 2 hours or something. And I said, This is the Zen training that I've been through and learned is you don't put opinions into people's heads by suggesting things. It's also a common psychological thing nowadays. I didn't say, oh, that must have been terrible, or wow, that's pretty great. I just said, well, how did that make you feel to be out there by yourself? And he goes, I liked it. And I was like, damn, okay. He actually enjoys solo riding and doesn't feel lost or abandoned or scared at those times when you have to pull through all by yourself. He actually enjoys it. Because when long races get real, you often end up by yourself. Some people hate it and they're not going to do the sport for very long or ever again. Some people can kind of tolerate it and they're going to do all right. Some people love it. And that's what actually you need also if you're going to do a lot of training. You end up training by yourself a lot because you need to go your own pace, which is good for your own improvement, and not train to everybody else, which you'll end up going too fast or too slow half the time to actually improve and get up to elite or pro. So Kai's high school, NICA is the league. The high school NICA mountain bike races are shorter and faster paced, really competitive, like psycho starts, elbow to elbow. And there's that. And Kai was doing okay at those, pretty good. You get podium off and on. But then there's also these other races around Texas and we went up to Louisiana, went to Arizona, that are longer races. So more like 30 to 40 miles. And then there's marathon mountain biking, which is definitely 40 plus miles. And then, we did a 6-hour relay race. And Kai was just knocking these out of the park. He's either winning his age group or coming in second, but he's like 16, 17, where you have to be 18 to even do the race, and we have to get a waiver. And like what happened this past weekend, and a lot of times winning his age group, but it's 29 and under is the age group, and he's 17, 18. So it was like a nice mix of the raw performance and technical skills of being on the NICA High School Mountain Biking League stuff, which is all across the United States. I highly recommend it. Wherever it is, whatever it is in your country, man, it is cool. But then also the big volume and the gravel biking and the coaching that's telling them like how to go longer and that it's okay to just do easy volume a lot of the times. Then Kai ends up going to Texas State for college, and in the United States, very few colleges have actual cycling teams. Most of them are club racing teams. And it doesn't matter about the size of the college. Texas A&M is huge. University of Texas, huge. They do not have a mountain bike cycling like varsity team, but there is one or two colleges in Texas that do have a actual cycling team with scholarships and such. And Kai kind of wanted to go to one of those, but I told Kai, I said, if you want to be an off-road gravel and mountain biking pro someday, well, one, go to a school that's got a degree that you really like. So when the pro thing and the mountain biking chasing is over someday, you've got an education to fall back on. And if you get the right degree, the right education, you can do both at the same time and they complement each other. And Texas State has sports science with a minor in business administration, which he's actually doing. And he could always change, right? But that's a great degree that if he wants to get into cycling as a career, to have in his back pocket. He could end up working for some coaching company. And a lot of people get degrees in engineering and end up, Jordan Rapp is one of my looked up to interviews that I've had on this show. When your pro career starts winding down, you go work for a bike company, building product, because you got an engineering degree and you're a pro racer. But the other thing is that because it's a club team, it's much more open and casual, and you can race or not. You go to this race, you can maybe go do something else. And they don't have structured workouts where some coach is trying to run you into the ground for their goals, the school's goals, instead of your own goals. So Kai, if you go to that other school that's got this varsity training program, I did not like the interview that we saw with the coach where only some of the best kids get to go to races and they train, however many days a week, and they have to be there at these certain times. I'm like, from what I know from all the years of coaching is you train on days you feel good, days you don't feel good, you back off a little bit or don't train at all. You need to balance it with your schoolwork. There is a total art to being an endurance athlete where first you have to learn to listen to your body and what it's telling you, and then you follow what it says. And that's how you build the big engine and the rings on the tree. And going to a school where the team is a club team, where you get to choose and your coaches tell you what's probably best for you. outside of the school program. And again, what's best for you, not the team. I think the club team will give you the freedom to build yourself into something really big after you graduate from college. So don't feel like you're missing out by not being on a varsity team. It's some small school that may not even have the degree that you want to get anyway. So just like when Kai joined the mountain bike team in 8th grade, Kai shows up and starts riding with the Texas State team, and he call home and say, one, he absolutely loves it there. The team's really cool. The terrain is really challenging. It's going to make him a better rider. But the older racers on the team told him how surprised they were at how good he was. And he hadn't even raced yet. He's just riding with them in a training ride. And Kai's real modest, so he's playing it down. No big deal. And then Emily and I went to Kai's first race with the team. And it had happened to be in San Marcos, and that's where the college is. So, we combined it as a trip to see. And we stayed on the sidelines and cheered him on. And in Kai's very first race, collegiate race with A&M, UT, Baylor, and then that varsity team, scholarship racers, the national champion of Honduras was there. Kai got second place just 2 months into his freshman year, second place overall in the longer cross-country race that they had. They do like a time trial and then something short on Friday or Saturday, and then they do the long race on Sunday. And he did good in the other two too. He got like 3rd and 4th or something like that. And I swear, if they thought of it, those kids on Kai's team, the other college students, would have picked Kai up on their shoulders and carried him around. They were so blown away and so stoked that Kai did so well right out of the gates. After the racing was all done, they're drinking some beer because this is college, it's no longer high school. And they're like, "You are the future of the team." And I was like, whoa, this is what it's like when you show up somewhere and you're a phenomenon. And then the other race that he did with the college, it was a big race in Waco, which is also a really technical, hard course. Kai won overall, I think everything. He got first place. And then they just had a party and announced that the team had won the entire year of the fall mountain bike season, and they gave Kai a special certificate that he was the most valuable incomer or something like that. Now, you have to keep things in perspective. This is Texas. This isn't Colorado or California. I would say that we rank probably like 3rd or 4th in the best states for mountain biking for the best guys. So he's not like national champion or world champion or anything like that. But what we're starting to see is the results of patient, reasonable, slow growth and doing the right things to stay with it. And it's kind of like a forest. Some trees fall away, some stay. The ones that stay keep growing. Some other trees fall away. The ones that stay keep growing. Also avoiding injury. He's only had one injury with his foot his entire life. So even now, even though he's winning collegiate races, I'm still thinking he's only a freshman. Just be chill, keep building the volume, do the right things, and eventually you'll be one of the last ones standing. All the volume and training you get that entire time that you made it to being one of the last ones standing, then your dream of being a pro and really getting to enjoy it for 5-10 years can actually come true. Now, how good of a pro you are, that's a whole different can of worms. And honestly, I think that's a trap. Just like all the other times I told Kai, he didn't need to be the fastest, he didn't need to be the best right now. Also, if you're the best pro, if you're the world champion, whatever, you're only it for a very brief time. You're like 1 year, maybe 2 years, and it is all consuming. Nowadays, with social media, there's a completely different path. You can be a pro and then also be able to pay a lot of bills by having a nice social media presence. And you win your occasional race, but you're always doing pretty good and you're supportive of others. And you don't actually have to win every single race to be successful. There's a lot of people that are very successful in cycling and triathlon that aren't pros at all, but they have a positive attitude. They're always there. They're knowledgeable and they're helpful. And if you do that, you can be that guy or that girl for decades instead of burning up and burning out. I was at a mountain bike race last year and there was a pro that was 48 years old, I think. I was like, that's pretty cool, dude. He got second place, I think. So anyway, that's a story of how Kai got to be where he is now. Like I said, it's this approach of seeing some talent, but being at the right place, the right time, and a real hands-off approach to generate a love for the sport. But that coincides with being able to build a lot of aerobic base and volume in the big engine. but then a very hands-on approach when it came to doing just the right things and kind of steering the ship every once in a while, but always checking that that's still what he wanted to do and making sure that he still wants this as his goals. And also being ready and open at any time things could go sideways, and that's okay. It is just riding bikes, because the real goal is a lifetime of riding bikes. And I would love to be 80 years old and go out for my piddly little 20-mile bike ride or 10-mile bike ride. I don't know what you can do at 80. I think it depends on the person. But hear that Kai did what I did today at age 50 and went out for a 76-mile bike ride yesterday and then a 14-mile run this morning and just loving it. And it makes him a better person. And he plans on doing it the rest of his life. And if he's got kids, they're happy and healthy and fit too, following his example. That's actually the real goal. What we don't want is to be trapped in a career with a rat race and stress and an hour commute each way, 2-hour commute each way, eating up your time, trying to climb the corporate ladder and thinking superficial things matter, and your health going completely sideways and ending up with a heart condition or stress-related panic attacks, heart attacks, and a whole bunch of health conditions and drama that happens to so many of us when we stop having enough exercise in our lives to kind of ground things a little bit. It is the real world out there. You need a job, you got to pay bills, and a lot of times it sucks and takes up too much of your time, but there's choices you can make so that you end up having enough health and fitness in your life as your foundation so that you can live a long time and be healthy, happy, fit, and strong the entire way. You want to live an awesome life until you're 85 and then die suddenly. Not live an awesome life through high school and then slowly come apart over the next 30 years and then have a heart attack at age 50 and then you're out of the game. Okay, so with all that, let's get into Kai's interview. And don't forget, if you want personal coaching from yours truly, I do fully custom coaching for all 3 sports, either together as triathlon or individually. We use Training Peaks. I go through all your metrics and build you towards your goal, whether it be your next half marathon or your next Ironman. I change up your workouts by the week to tailor fit how you've been doing. And I also explain to you what all the metrics mean so you understand it as well. My goal is not to coach you forever. My goal is to train you on how to coach yourself, actually. All you really need is a heart rate monitor and a bike computer with GPS. Power meter's nice too, but not required. It's only $199 a month, and you will definitely hit your goals, and I will teach you how to be the long-distance superstar that you've always wanted to be. All you have to do is send an email to texafornia@gmail.com. That's like Texas and California, TEXAFORNIA. Put coaching in the subject line, and we can get started. I should also mention, when I was going back and editing the audio for the interview, I noticed that I was talking really fast. And Kai was talking at a very normal, casual pace. And the reason that is because I knew that we only had 30 minutes at a pop to record the interview. And I already made up a long list of questions that I was wanting to get out and move the interview along before we ran out of time. So that's why it sounds like that, with one side fast and one side normal. And honestly, I'd like to spend all day talking with him and ask him questions about his race if we could. But anyway, so without further ado, here's our special guest, the amazing off-road racer, Kai Blankner. Here we go. All right, we are here with the amazing Kai Blankner, who just finished the Austin Rattler super marathon mountain bike race.
Yeah, that was a long race.
Yeah, how long was it?
It ended up being, I want to say 55 miles. They say it's 60. It feels like 60, but yeah, it ended up a little under 60.
Yeah, they advertise it as 60, and there's a chance it could be 60 because it's so rugged and twisty, and GPS can't collect that. Like the proper way, a lot of people don't know this, but like if you're doing a trail running race that's certified or like a marathon, they do the exact same thing. They take a measuring wheel and they wheel the course, even out in the mountains and all that stuff, to get it certified. If you're going to do like the fastest trail run 100. So to really know for sure, you'd have to measure wheel that course.
Yeah,
so
that would be a pain.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's definitely more than 50 something. So then let's see, you got 6th for the 29 and under age group, and you're barely in that age group.
Yep.
And then you got 16th overall, and there was close to like 300 people.
It was 302 people. And looking back at the results, I looked at it a few days ago, and it moved me up to 15th.
Oh, I wonder what happened.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, and so this was a lifetime brand, the gyms. So a lot of people that listen to the show do triathlon. They don't know that much about, there's a chance they might not know about the mountain biking and gravel craziness that's going on right now. So a lot like Ironman, Lifetime has started a off-road biking series that you have to qualify for. And then at the end of the year, they have a champion. And this year's champion, male champion, so boyfriend, girlfriend, right? So Keegan Swinson, and what's his girlfriend's name?
Sophia something.
Yeah, it's a multiple last name situation.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like tens of thousands of dollars, like $250,000 or something.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been saying it was like $200,000, but I think that's all of the money combined, and they give it out. They distribute it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's 10 places, like to 10 spots. And it's a lot. It's the Lifetime Grand Prix, but it's the Leadville Trail Series. I think that's what it's called. And it's a bunch of races, and they take their most popular, like 6 of the most popular ones. So, eventually maybe the Rattler will be on there.
Oh, it could be. Yeah. I wonder.
Yeah. So
that would also kind of suck because you'd have to qualify to do the Rattler.
Yeah.
I don't want to qualify to do the Rattler. I just want to sign up for it. It's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they do this lottery system, just like Ironman, where the top, just very few people, sometimes, most of the time, just one person per age group gets a slot to go to the Leadville 100. And they do it for the running race too, right? So it's a run. That's where it got started, I think, was the Leadville 100 trail running race.
Yep.
And so the town of Leadville, for people that don't know, was the mining company that it's the highest elevation town in the United States, and it's at 10,000 feet in Colorado. And the mining company kind of went bankrupt and left town, and then the town went into poverty and stuff. And this guy that lives there started a trail running race, and people have just loved it ever since he started it. And then they've added mountain biking, and the mountain biking really took off when Lance Armstrong did it about 8 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, and they made a movie about it, and he won it. And Ride Across the Sky or something like that, we went to the movie theater to watch that thing. And so then that took off in popularity, and then Lachlan Morton did it, and he's super famous in mountain biking. But anyway, it's a 100-mile mountain bike race that everybody wants to get into, and it's so popular. They have you have to qualify for it, and then also lottery. And kind of unlike Ironman, it was like just like Ironman, it was just a few qualifying spots for the best, 1 or 2 per age group, and then just a ton of
you had a better chance of getting a lottery than actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that seemed like we realized that's how you get into this thing. Is good luck, getting in it by performance. Tons of qualifiers by just calling out people's name out of a number of hats. But that's that race, right? Okay, so what was your goal for this race for Austin Rattler?
So I went into it with the goal of, qualifying for Leadville. That was my main goal. We were looking at times from last year and the year before that of what their time was. And I was aiming for that time between 4.5 hours and 5 hours. Came a little bit short of the goal, but that's okay because I ended up with a pretty good spot overall and for my age group. Going into it, I wasn't like, I'm going to do this overall. I want to get this position for the age group 29 and under, but I ended up doing pretty well. So other than qualifying for Leadville, I think I did pretty well with overall.
Yeah. This marathon mountain biking thing that we do all sports on this podcast that are like swim, bike, run, trail running, and marathon mountain biking is definitely endurance related. And you've got a really good history with that. I was just recalling earlier today that let's see, the Hugoland one in Fredericksburg, marathon mountain biking, that's something that a lot of people are familiar with. And those are 40 to 42 to 44 miles long. They have marathon mountain biking national championships and world championships. And those are very much endurance events. Mountain biking for 44 miles is very taxing.
Yeah.
And so you've been doing that starting like 2 years ago or a year ago. And I think you won at Rocky Hill, you won the 29 and under. And I think you got third overall or something, right? At up Fat Chuck's Revenge or something. So that super muddy race.
I did a half marathon. So it was like 26 miles.
Okay. That's still a lot on a mountain bike.
Yeah, I think that was my first long race.
Mm-hmm.
That was brutal.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah, they started the longer race, which I was in front of you guys. And then y'all started the second one. And then when you passed me, you were like, hey, like that. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, dude, you guys are flying. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And then you did Fredericksburg, Texas and these are Texas Mountain Bike Racing League races, by the way. And you got first in your age group at the Fredericksburg race, which is 42 miles, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this race was the longest mountain bike race you were ever going to do. But what's the longest race? It would be like a gravel race, right? What's some of the longest gravel racing you've done?
Gravel Locust was the longest. That was 150 miles, a little under 10 hours on the bike. Mm-hmm. That was an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to go back and do that one. That one was so cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that one again.
And that's kind of like not really a qualifier. It could be someday, but a qualifier for Unbound. It's a good pre-run for Unbound and camp.
Yeah, it's a little shorter, but
all the pros show up for that one.
Yeah, there's a bunch of pros that show up to that one. I'd say the next longest that I've done, El Camino, which was the first gravel race we ever did, 100 miles. That was
like 109 or 112, I think.
Yeah.
It's advertised as a 200-mile something race, but that's if you do back-to-back days. Like they have a second, you can do one day or both days or the second day or, whatever you want.
Yeah. I've done the Highlands Gravel Classic in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. The UCI World's Qualifier.
Yeah. And then what's the other one? Hell of the North in Paris, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't have a great race there, but that was fun.
You bonked.
Yeah, I bonked hard. Yeah.
And then what's your background in mountain biking? What'd you get started in?
So I started with NICA. I've done that since middle school, I think. Yeah, I made my way up varsity last year. And NICA. I've done a few timber races. I mean, actually a lot of timber races.
So the NICA races are like they do by age or like kind of like grade in school, right? So it's like it'll be a 3-lap course, but like that's what varsity does is 3 laps. JV does what?
4 laps.
4 laps. Okay. JV does 3, sophomores do 2, freshmen do 1 kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I keep hearing in the off-road circles that people that did NICA in high school are the next generation have been the next generation of racers for quite a while now. Because they all come out of school like with so much race experience.
Yeah.
And then so you were pretty successful at NICA. You were on the podium a lot and a really good team. And then let's see. So then you are at Texas State.
Yep.
Tell us about what's good about Texas State with the mountain biking. Why is it a good choice?
I mean, the trails are insane here. I think it's limestone, so it's just rock. There's no flow. Probably very little flow. It depends on where you go.
What that means you have to work for every inch that you get or something?
Yeah, basically. You've ridden out here.
I rode out there. I've ridden the trails once.
Yeah.
And there's definitely like no flow except for like down like at a creek bottom where it happens to follow along the line of a creek.
Yeah.
It'll be flowy like we got here.
Yeah.
In College Station.
And we're in the hill country, so it's a lot more hilly than in College Station, so it's a big change, huge change. And everyone on the team says like once you come here, you're going to be a better mountain biker.
Yeah, you think so, right? For sure. I remember
Yeah.
I talked and you were like, this place is insane. It's so hard to ride here.
Yeah. Yeah. There's about, I want to say like 4 trail systems here, different parks you can go to. I mean, it's less than 5 minutes away from my house if you ride, like probably 2 minutes away from my apartment.
So I
Uh,
imagine, you tell me if this is true, that kind of like Boulder, where it's really hilly one way, right? You can ride up in the hills, not the mountains like in Colorado, but you can ride up in the hills, or you can to the west, or you can go east, and it's kind of in that big river bottom, kind of prairie kind of area. So,
um,
or is it? It's not hill. What's it like? Can you choose when to ride a hard day or when to ride an easy day?
I think if you go, it's more if you go west. It's west or east, it's less hilly. If you go south, it's just as hilly, and if you go north, it's just as hilly.
Mhm.
Like if you follow I-35, it's pretty flat.
Okay.
But I mean, it's definitely big rollers. I know the first day I was here, or it might have been the second day, you're like, yeah, if you go south, it's gonna be a lot flatter. You're in like the farmland, and no, it was definitely not.
Yeah.
It's not at all. If you go towards Wimberley, which is north, it's still just as hilly, and if you go south, it's maybe a little less hilly, but it's still hilly.
Well, that's good training
Yeah,
day.
it's fun.
Yeah, and then but you ride a lot on the indoor trainer too, right? For convenience and
Yeah, recently the weather's not been great here, so I don't like the wind at all.
really?
uh, no, I don't like the wind. But yeah, if it's raining, I got caught in the rain yesterday. I was doing like an out and back 2 hour ride, and I
Mhm.
went out for an hour, and then the whole way, the hour back, it was just headwind and rain.
Oh, you were probably so miserable.
Yeah, but I mean, it was my last day of riding before an off season, so I
Yeah.
was okay with it.
Okay. So let's
uh,
talk about biking and effort. So what was your strategy at Austin Rattler? I know
mhm.
you wanted me to support you and to support you and your girlfriend and Keaton, your best friend. We're all there. This is
Yep,
like a race you've been building up to like all season. And really excited. And then, but it's 3 laps of 20 miles each,
yep.
right? So what was your strategy for the laps? And then we'll ask like what was your strategy with fueling and then racing?
Um,
Pull off like one of these races with good performance is what people are going to want.
yeah. So I was aiming for me after talking with Noah, my coach. I was aiming for a heart rate between 170 and 178.
Which
The
for you're 19.
Yeah.
So for a 19-year-old, that's like high zone 3, low, yeah,
Mhm.
zone 3.
Yeah. And so I'll be honest, I never really even looked down at my computer to see what my heart rate was.
Yeah.
The whole time I wasn't even thinking about it. I mean, I was just going off of feel. I mean, I looked at it probably twice on the last lap,
Yeah. So why
but
not? Why are you just trying to keep up with the people in front of you, or you're just going off of what you're just
uh,
reactive racing? There's like if a lot of people would love to experience this, but most age groupers, they just do the event, right?
yeah,
And then they talk about, and they're like, oh, they could race pro or something like that, or why didn't the pros go faster or something? And they're like, no, dude, the pro racing, the front end of a race is completely different, right? It's like you're responding to what the other leaders are doing and trying to
yeah,
stay with them and whatever, because that's actually what matters. And so if they slow down, then you slow down. If they speed up, you speed up. Or like you might try to attack when they're having a problem or.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think yeah, I was with a group of people some of the time I wasn't.
Mhm.
I mean, I was going, I guess, just really off of feel.
Yeah.
I was looking at time a bunch to see how far away I was, how hard I needed to go. But yeah, I'd say I was really going off of feel.
Okay.
No, because I know my body. I know what's too hard, what's a good pace to keep going for 5 hours, what I'm gonna be able to do. So,
Okay. And then the weather was pretty good. It was kind of cool in the morning. And then
mhm.
did it get hot at the end or not for you? You
Uh,
didn't.
it never really got hot. It got, I mean, warm, but it wasn't like Texas heat. It felt good.
It was almost like kind of like an ideal racing day. I could say
Yeah.
cooler towards the
Yeah,
end.
it really was. It wasn't super cold in the morning. I didn't go out with arm warmers or a jacket or anything. It was perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So we had a race start of like 8 o'clock. And then what was the race start like? Describe the
Oh, it was so
bizarreness
cool.
of this race, like, and how big it was.
It was so cool. Yeah, I was on the maybe third row starting.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say there were really rows. It was just people just packed into that starting chute.
Right.
But we had was it? It was like a side by side, like a ATV.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean,
Gator.
you'll see it in most of the Leadville races. They have that little gator thing leading out.
Oh, and
Well,
you noticed that
every
the race director was the race director, or the guy doing the lottery stuff at the end, announcing all the lotteries, was the race director
Mhm.
for Leadville or for
For
Unbound? Unbound, yeah.
Unbound.
Yeah, which is the biggest
I
race,
just I was
Super Bowl
watching,
of gravel, people that don't know.
yeah, I was watching one of the Unbound from last year, and I was like, oh, that's the same dude.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so but didn't
yeah,
they
but we had
the race the race start that you were in that for the Austin Rattler, wasn't there like corrals? They had like so many people that they had to break it up.
yeah, it was Corral A, Corral B, and Corral C. I think it was only three. I
Yeah.
don't know if there was a fourth, but yeah, it was self seated. So I mean, you decide where you want to go. I was in Corral A, and yeah, it just basically goes off how fast you think you're gonna go.
They did a controlled start, right?
Yeah, it was a neutral start for probably a mile.
So I didn't get to see what happened after the gator. Did the gator peel off right at the single track? Or
Yeah, right
what
where
was it?
that big gate was.
Were y'all elbowing for position at the front, or was everybody pretty cool?
Everybody seemed to be pretty cool. It was definitely try and get to the front though.
Mhm.
But I had a great start. I was in the front. So
Yeah, you're used to these kinds of mountain bike races. Well, what's cool about marathon mountain biking is the starts aren't these insane starts like the shorter races that we've done.
yeah, it wasn't crazy. I think if there wasn't a gator or a neutral lead out, it would have been crazy though.
That's the one turnoff that people have with mountain biking that I hear a bunch is that's the only one I ever hear is race starts is so combative, you know. It's kind of
Mhm.
like swim starts in triathlon where it's like people like a deep water mass start. It's not
Yeah.
fun. And so the fact that they've eliminated if people want to get into marathon mountain biking, I highly encourage it. It's so cool. And the
Yeah.
starts are actually as neutral as you want to be most of the
Yeah.
time.
I think if there wasn't, well, so you really wanted to be at the, I mean, if you want to have a good start, you want to be at the front for that race.
Mhm.
There's a lot of 90-degree turns right at the start. Even with the neutral lead out there, it buckled up. It bunched up. There were a bunch of people. So if you weren't at the front, you would probably be walking. That's how many people there were and how bunched up it got.
Now, I remember the corrals were spaced out like 2 or 3 minutes apart. And you go to on Instagram, maybe you've posted who are you on Instagram if you want to see some of your videos, by the way.
I think it's Kai Blankner.
Kai Blankner one on Instagram.
Yeah,
And
Kai
then
underscore Blankner one.
on ZenTriathlon on Instagram, you can see if you go back a little bit, you can see one of the I think it's Kai's corral start and just how many people it is going over the horizon is and it's so cool looking. And then what about crashes? Were there any crashes as y'all got up right onto the single track?
Um, not not as soon as we got to the single track. I know Isaac Bailey, he wiped out in one of the corners, and that put him back a few positions, but then we worked together after that. I didn't really see any wrecks, honestly. The whole time, actually, I didn't see any wrecks besides Isaac. But it was a very loose, sandy corner where anyone could have wiped out. And I don't think he pre-rode at all. So that was another
Yeah.
factor.
It's funny because you need the pre-ride, but also y'all racing NICA have trained and raced out there so much, like at that one place. And
Yeah.
we went there the weekend before, right? And rode some. And it was super hot. We really struggled out there. That was pretty funny. Let's see. So your goal was an hour and a half per lap if you wanted to win, your age group at least. And you came in on your first lap at an hour and a half. I was so impressed. I was like, dude, he's doing it.
Yeah. Well, that was with the being on the road for that first part too. I mean, I was averaging probably 13.1 miles per hour for that first lap.
Yeah.
That was fast.
So did you see any other crashes that were
No, I didn't see any.
oh, that's cool. Okay. And then there's a lot of times people don't want to do mountain biking because they're worried you're going to crash or something.
Yeah, it's a technical course, but it's also not really a technical course.
Yeah. The long distance mountain biking, it caters towards older people a lot of times because it's a longer endurance event. People have turning more slow twitch.
Hmm.
And that's what I like about marathon mountain biking is they take some of the crazy technical stuff out of it because that's not what a 50, 60-year-old person is interested in. They don't want to do crazy. They want to do an endurance mountain bike ride, you know.
Yeah.
So as far as like technical, it's more like older style mountain biking. Like at Rocky Hill Ranch for the marathon mountain biking, they take out the crazy technical stuff. And that's why I like it. I like doing the marathon mountain bike. You mentioned Isaac Bailey, right? So you used to race NICA with him, and he was on Texas Devo, right? So that was a select team that you were on.
Hmm.
You had to apply to that. You were on that all last year. It was Texas's development team.
Well, it's this year. I'm still on it.
Still on it through the end of the year, and
Yeah.
wearing their race kit and stuff. That's really awesome that you made that team. That was last year's big goal, was to get on that team.
Yeah.
And then I saw what's Blake's last name?
Keeling.
Blake Keeling. He's got a twin brother too that's also really good.
Yeah, Alex.
Alex. Okay. And then so Isaac and Blake were in the race. Do you remember anybody else that was your competition specifically that was in the race?
Justin Greenfield was there. He's a local from San Marcos. Not really, no.
And then what happened to Blake during the race?
I know he was having some knee problems. I think he wrecked or something like the week before. So he was having some knee issues, and then I passed him on the third lap. He was on the ground holding his leg.
He was cramping up, remember? That's what he said.
Yeah, he said that his whole, it might have been, I think it was his left leg, the leg that was hurt, had cramped up his whole leg. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's typical, right? Of people that are going a further distance harder than they've ever gone before, they'll cramp.
Hmm. Yeah, I cramped.
Yeah, you started cramping, and then, but I was when you told me because we were looking at your graphs, your speed and stuff,
Yeah.
and I pointed out that your heart rate was a little bit slower your last lap and a little bit, yeah, and I was like, oh, maybe you were bonking out of energy, but no, you said something else. Actually, was
Yeah.
a big factor.
I had a cramp in my right leg.
Right,
So
but you slowed down, right? So like
yeah,
I haven't told you this yet, but when you told me that, I was like, oh, dude, that's smart. You did something. So Blake probably didn't slow down enough and cramped
yeah,
up, and then you slowed down so you didn't cramp up as badly as he did, and then you were able to actually keep up a pretty decent pace for the last lap too. You
yeah,
only, you only faded like a few minutes per lap, like 7 minutes per lap or 10 minutes per lap or something like that.
yeah. That was the only thing that I would say went, wrong, I
Mhm.
guess, the whole time. It was a really good race.
So let's talk about your fueling. What did
Yeah.
you use? What did you use for fuel? How did you arrange it in bottles and hydration too?
Hmm.
And then so what was your strategy? And then how did it pan out? And yeah, so go ahead and start telling us that. This is really interesting.
So I do our mixture that we do, that's 50-50 Gatorade sugar and then a teaspoon of sodium citrate.
Mhm.
And
So
I
you're
have,
making your own fuel.
yeah, own fuel. We're not buying it from anybody. There's not an actual brand besides Gatorade, sugar, and sodium citrate wherever we get that. But yeah, I was.
Well, like a typical triathlete, I pour over slow twitch, right? Because triathletes are known for being just researching and meticulous about every little possible thing. We
Yeah,
over analyze everything. And over the past couple of years, there's been just so much content put out there by fueling and hydration professionals that just straight table sugar and
yeah,
sodium citrate is the most amazing fuel that people are
yeah,
just not trying. And so we started trying. I started trying it, and then got you started
yeah.
doing it.
Because we were using Gatorade Endurance.
Which is not bad. I mean, that's what Lionel Sanders used for a long time. I don't know if he still does.
Yeah. Well, what's the difference from it?
It
There's
has
something.
maltodextrin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, it definitely works. It's amazing.
So you made your fuel like the day before or something, or the morning of?
Yeah, in the hotel room the
Okay,
night
yeah.
before.
So you made the fuel, like you poured it together. You knew, like from experience, like how much to put in a bottle and what bottles you were going to use.
Yeah, so we calculated it's around, I usually do like for training and stuff, about an hour is 250 calories.
Mhm.
And so I was thinking, okay, the laps will be about an hour and a half. I'll put an hour and a half worth of fuel in the bottles, and then each lap I'll get a new bottle. And that worked. I think I should have done probably 2 hours worth, just because I wasn't thinking about, well, I'm going harder during a
Oh yeah,
race,
you're burning more calories. Yeah.
burning more calories. And what if it takes longer? What if something goes wrong? What if
Mhm.
uh, I have a flat or a mechanical and I'm out there for 2 hours instead of an hour and a half?
Yeah, you're right.
So I should have done that. That might have been something that caused the cramp in my leg. Yeah, that's, I usually do with a Cliff Bar, that's 350 calories an hour. So I
Mhm.
was probably doing around, I think I added up, it was like 575 calories and per
Oh,
lap.
oh, per lap. Oh, per lap because it's
Yeah.
an hour and a half lap. Okay, yeah. Oh,
I was doing 525.
yeah. Okay, so we were just talking about fueling and hydration. So what'd you do for hydration? You had a Camelback, right?
Yeah.
For then you changed. Well, tell us your strategy. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I had a Camelback for 2 laps, and
Mhm.
then the third lap I dropped that, and I had just a regular sized bottle of water on my bike. I had that on there the whole ride, just in case. Noah and I call it a utility bottle, just in case something happens. I can use it, like if I get mud or something on my glasses, I can use it to spray off mud, and then for the last lap, I used it for hydration.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that one time that he had told you that you should just carry a water bottle, an extra water bottle anyway,
Mhm.
just for hydration, but also like and this is really good for gravel biking, like to spray mud off your drivetrain or something. And I was like, oh, that actually is pretty smart.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so you were basically you're going to finish the Camelback. Did you finish off the Camelback?
I was really close.
Both? Okay, in 2 laps, right? And then your third lap, just go with bottles. And then, so I remember I was paranoid that you were going to want more water. So what I did, this is coming from the support crew. What I did with Kai when he came through, this is on video too, on Instagram, ZenTri on Instagram. Kai coming through after his first lap, and to get Keaton involved. Keaton wanted to hand you that bottle, right? And
Hmm.
so many times watching the Tour de France and this other stuff and Ironman racing where they go through and they drop a bottle and it like ruins their race, right? And so the real pro teams have like in the Tour de France, they have like several stations to give them second try, third try, right? And you came through fast. And so yeah, you hit Keaton and that bottle dropped. And then I was there with the second bottle and
Yeah.
super excited that actually we predicted that could happen and then had a
Yeah.
backup.
Yeah. I was glad you were there with that.
Yeah, that would have been a situation, right? That would have ruined, well, it wouldn't ruin your race, but it would have been really tough. So
Yeah.
then it would have made your race more of a participation event instead of a race. Was there any supply out on the course? Nothing.
Uh-uh. No, there wasn't anything. I thought they said there was going to be something, but I don't think there was.
They might have put an aid station way out, I guess, for people.
Yeah.
There was no support by family or friends allowed except for at the pass through at the
The
gate.
feed zone. Yeah.
Where we at this race start as you come through. Okay, so then yeah, so I filled up a second Camelback with water for you and sodium citrate as an electrolyte. And then as you came through, I was holding it up in the air, and you said no, you didn't want it, right? So you kept going, and then on your third lap, you did say something about though that you kind of ran out of fuel that you could have. We need to make a note on this for next year. This is what excellent racers do, right? They make
Yeah.
notes they would improve and
Yeah.
something about that you could have used one more Cliff Bar or
Yeah.
something.
So going into the race, I had 5 Cliff Bars for 5 hours because I would eat one per hour. And I've told so many people this. Like I told Bummy and Noah, like and Kylie and everybody. Uh, on the start line, I ate one of the Cliff Bars.
Nervous eating, maybe,
And
or
yeah, I wasn't thinking about it. And so I mean
well,
I
you're
kind
probably hungry, dude. Yeah, sure.
yeah, I kind of forgot that I was like, oh, I need this for the actual race. But yeah, so starting the third lap, I reached back and I was like, oh, I only have one Cliff Bar left.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was hungry and I needed to eat. So I ate that last Cliff Bar. And yeah, I think that might have also had something to do with the cramp.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I could have brought one more Cliff Bar.
So yeah, so we'll make notes, and you should make notes too, I guess. Like
Yeah.
I do that. So if people listening, I'm a typical triathlete, very meticulous. I love it. I make notes on every single race, exactly what went right, what went wrong, like, and I have it categorized in task and project management software, every race and by every year. And I mean, down to things like what hotel we stayed at, if they had a free breakfast or not, where to eat dinner the night before, right? We need to write that down for you too, right? That Burnett, the town, has no Italian restaurants, I think.
Well, they
And
had one, but it was closed. Something was weird about it.
yeah, and so like pasta would be a really great thing to have. But there
Yeah.
aren't any Italian restaurants. That's how small of a town it is. There isn't a single one.
Yeah.
And then that's a note, that we should make. So we were trying to figure out like Mexican food and rice, maybe, like trying to feed you all the rice on everybody's plate.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. And then, okay, so what do you think about the Lifetime Series racing overall? Like the Grand, so can you explain like the Grand Prix thing again? And they just had a team selection. Like, what is that?
Yeah. So I want to say it's like 15 big races. And for the Lifetime Grand Prix, they take it's either 6 or 7 races, their most popular races, and those like Unbound is Unbound's Lifetime.
Unbound one. Yeah, it is one. Yeah.
Um,
Unbound Leadville. They just did Big Sugar, which is a mountain bike race.
yeah,
No, Big Sugar was a gravel bike.
yeah,
But you know what? It was almost exactly like the one that you just said earlier that we did, the Ozark Highlands
yeah,
race, except chunkier. Do you remember like I did a little bit of research and asked around about what is that race like or around Fayetteville? Our race, and they said if your race, okay, so it varies. If you go east and southeast of Fayetteville, it's very rugged, but it's the gravel is smoother, right? Like, and that's what we experienced. Our gravel was not chunky, right, at our race. And they said if you
yeah,
go north and west of Fayetteville up towards Bentonville, and then that way, then it's really chunky and technical. And that's what we
yeah,
heard about that race, right? Big Sugar was people were saying it was one of the chunkiest, most like tire slicing races, like Unbound, right? Unbound is full of flint,
yeah,
arrowhead rocks.
yeah.
So they pick how many pros for this Grand Prix, or
30 men and 30 women.
right? And they even made a TV show. I didn't watch any of that.
It's a YouTube series.
Yeah.
For each race, they alternate between the men and women's race. So one of their documentaries will be about the women's race, and then like the next race it'll be about the men's race. I like it. I like watching those on the trainer and stuff. I'll watch them probably 3 times.
Yeah.
I like
Really?
them.
Over and
Yeah.
over. Okay. So, and do you have goals of being uh, selected to be one of those pros?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big goal, but I have to think of what's actually possible right now. So maybe next year, try and apply and get accepted. They only really take 15 people. So,
Right, because it's the top 15 from the previous year are automatically qualified.
mhm.
And as of right now, it's such a big, successful thing that I think everybody's going to take that slot.
Yeah. So, what you said it was like 200 people applied or something?
I heard that 200 people applied,
I
maybe
feel
per,
like it's more
maybe
than
per
that.
gender, but maybe overall, pros.
Yeah.
I wonder, like maybe a goal first. I'm just guessing. Well, you have this other goal. Let's talk about this goal. CTL. Triathletes know about CTL if they do any kind of serious training. So what
Yeah.
is CTL?
Uh, I think it stands for chronic training load.
Hmm? I think so.
So, I mean, it's basically just a number that tells you how fit you are. That's what I think of it as.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, for the end of the year, I'm trying to get it up to 100.
Mhm.
Uh, I've been working at it for a long time, and right now, I'm probably have the most motivation and am in the right mindset for it right now
Mhm.
than ever. Um,
I
And
like that goal because it's like attainable, it's like a number that you have total control over. It's
yeah,
not like a race where somebody, like getting a result in a race where that depends on who shows up or like having a mechanical or something. Like
yeah,
so CTL from a coaching perspective, the science behind it is every workout gives you so many points. And then it's a percentage of your max for an hour, right? So if you did your all out max for an hour, that'd be 100 points. And then what happens is CTL is calculated with the half-life of every workout of 2 weeks, I think. So your points fade, right, over 2 weeks because your fitness fades from a workout over 2 weeks. But the more workouts you do, the more they start stacking up, and you stack up more than can fade, right?
yeah,
And so you could do like a 3 hour bike ride and get 100 points because you went kind of medium, for 3 hours. That would be like doing an hour all out or something.
mhm.
So a lot of people will target CTL per workout. It'll show on your bike computer, what CTL it thinks you're getting from this ride.
Yeah.
And
That's what I go off of for. Basically every workout is
oh,
what with TSS.
yeah, TSS. That's actually so your training stress score is TSS, and then your CTL is your TSS accumulated, but with a half-life of 2 weeks. So you lose TSS points over time, but you try to pile them up faster than you lose them up to a certain point. And you're trying to get up to 100 of it would be like you have the fatigue of doing an all-out workout every day for
Yeah.
an hour. And then what's cool is they have metrics out there. Like if you want to qualify for Kona, you probably need a CTL of this. And I remember to finish an Ultraman happy, I needed a CTL near like 140 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that was in the 130s, I think. And
Yeah.
then, but it was kind of fun. Like I just targeted it and just worked out until I started getting up there. And
Yeah.
then, so when are you supposed to get a CTL of 100 by? Is there a date?
Just by the end of the year, that's my goal.
Okay.
I don't really have a date because I don't have workouts planned out that far and training peaks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
that's my goal.
Yeah.
That's
And
that's my big goal for the rest of the year because I don't really have any races coming up.
And then I wonder, like your next a goal before you could qualify get selected for lifetime Grand Prix. Do you have to be a pro, right? So then, how do you qualify to be a pro? Is there some sort of qualification? Like I know the qualifications for triathlon to be a pro triathlete, but I don't know what it is for mountain biking.
I know for like UCI, you have to have a certain amount of points and then make your way up.
Yeah.
You can't just go into it.
Well, we have
Um,
a lot of UCI. You know what? We should ask Justin McQuarrie because or somebody like him
yeah,
because he's a pro. He went to Gravel Worlds.
he did go to Gravel Worlds.
Yeah.
He did have a last row start though, because he didn't have a bunch of UCI points.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with the gravel scene right now, they're not doing a bunch of UCI races because there's so many rules with UCI.
Yeah. There's like two worlds of gravel, right? There's UCI and then there's non-UCI.
Yeah. So like Keegan, he didn't have a front row start. He was like probably mid pack, maybe a little
Yeah,
higher.
you're right. So like Keegan and those other guys had hardly any UCI points. American off-road racing
Yeah.
is very not UCI. Like it's Europe is
Well, yeah. So all the roadies and stuff that did gravel were all at the front, like Wout. I forget who else. There's a big name for
imagine
like,
if Matthew Vanderpool showed up to that race in Wout Van Aert. When
yeah,
dude, holy crap, that would have been insane.
yeah.
Okay.
But
So,
I know Keegan, he had enough UCI points. I think he did like the Soldier Hollow race.
mhm.
Um, is Cape Epic a UCI race?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, so he
There's
got
a ton of
points from
points for that.
there. Yeah, he got points from there. Maybe I guarantee it, the gravel not worlds, national race. That was UCI.
Yeah,
The
Cape Epic.
nationals. That's what I'm
Cape
thinking.
Epic. I'm glad you brought that up. For people that don't know, it's apparently like it's like the Tour de France of mountain biking, kind of. It's a 5 day stage race across South Africa, and yeah, and it's got UCI points with it. And Keegan did that with teammates with Lachlan
Lockwood
Morton.
Norton. Yeah.
Um, so talk about this for a second. Like the whole is it Payson McElveen or anyway, they just decided because it's this mix of gravel bike racing and mountain bike racing together that they just started calling themselves off-road cyclists or something, off-road racers. Have you heard that? Because they do both. So what would you? They were in an interview. It may have been Payson McGowan. Like, what do you consider yourself as?
Off-road bike racer.
Yeah, it's just off-road bike racer because they're doing gravel and mountain biking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that what you would consider yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because you do both?
Yeah, I would.
So how do you feel like mountain biking helps your gravel biking?
Definitely technical skills. For riding on gravel, not getting any like flats or anything. It definitely helps. Being what do they call it? Like weightless?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. Like so what people may not know is like a lot of gravel is like two trails, where the middle of it's like rougher than the tire tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So but you need to go around somebody or whatever reason you want to switch from one tire track to the other, for example, this happens all the time anyway, not just switching tire tracks. But what do you do? Like, how do you switch over? And the middle of it, say you're in the Flint Hills of Kansas and it's full of freaking arrowheads. What do you do with this weightless thing? What is that? How would you describe that to get from one side to the other?
For a patch in the middle, just try and be fast about it.
Yeah. But don't you like unweight? You kind of do like almost like a bunny hop.
You can. I wouldn't do that if you're in a pack though.
Yeah.
Dangerous. Maybe if you're by yourself.
Well, that's usually me. I'm usually behind.
Yeah. If you're in a pack, I would not do it.
You're up front in the pack with the real racers. I'm back there.
Yeah.
Tooling around. Okay. So
but I would say mountain biking definitely helps with being able to put up with all the bumps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like not having to go around technical sections or washboard just because it's technical. Just go through it.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine being a roadie. Like some people describe being a roadie and then they do their first gravel bike race. Or like that would be so difficult. But being a mountain biker and doing your first gravel bike race, it would almost seem easy. Like as far as technical stuff goes.
Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, it'll if you don't do any upper body exercises, like after the Gravel Locos race, I was sore upper body.
Mm-hmm.
I had a sore upper body after that because of all so many bumps. But yeah, no, it definitely helps having a mountain bike background going into gravel.
So future things, right? You got your 1 week off season coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably stretch it out a little bit more than that. I think it'd be all right. But
well, Thanksgiving's right after it. So yeah.
Yeah, in a few weeks there's something coming up. What's the I wasn't sure you were going to do it, but then you said you wanted to do it, or you're going to do it, or what's going on? What's coming up next?
Is it Hugoland? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I guess it's German. Hugoland.
The
really weird
marathon mountain bike race put on by Timbra.
Mm-hmm. So Timbra's Texas Mountain Bike Racing Association, and they have a marathon mountain bike series.
Yeah.
A lot of states have this, so you got to check it out. If you live in Texas, it's awesome. So Palo Duro Canyon is the first one, right?
Yeah, that's this weekend.
This weekend. And then Fredericksburg, and these are 40 to 44 mile races, marathon mountain bike races. So long distance mountain biking. Oh, I remember, I was going to say this when I did my first ever long distance mountain bike race. I think it's when you and I did the relay race at Warda.
Yeah.
Like 6-hour relay race. I did a lap, you did a lap. And it was so abusive on the body that I was so happy. I was like, dude, I found something that's close to like half Ironman or Ironman, but off road.
Yeah.
I felt like I've been in a car wreck. This is so awesome. And so I didn't know it existed. I thought all mountain bike racing was all like an hour, hour and a half or something. Yeah. But this was as long as you can stand, right? And so is there like 6 races?
I think so.
Someday, it'd be cool to do all of them, but there's some that are kind of far away, and there's one down in Harlingen, I guess, maybe, or was that regular Timber race?
Regular
has one, but anyway, okay. So what's the Fredericksburg one? The Hugoland we did last year, and I was looking at it today, the results to figure out how long of a race it was time wise for me, and then as I was going through, the very first thing I hit at the top was your name, and you won the 29 and under age group last year as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Barely 18. You freaking won the whole thing, the 29 and under.
Yeah.
But that's the second time we've done that race, right? Already.
Yeah, that was the second time.
So what do you like about that race?
I like the town of Fredericksburg. It's a
Mhm.
cool little town. There's that Christmas parade that goes through the day before, which we've never been able to see because we're always focused on the race.
I like it that it's not very technical, like hardly at all, actually.
Yeah, it's not super technical. It's pretty fast.
Yeah, it's definitely like an endurance race.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just like to do it.
And then I like it that it's got good views. Like half the race is up on a hilltop kind of, or some
Mhm.
hilltops. And so you're looking out over the horizon, which is really pretty.
Yeah,
And then it's the terrain's real clear. Like it's easy to see what's coming up, what's coming next, what to do. But I noticed, I was going to say earlier, like your path to the Grand Prix, lifetime Grand Prix, is you have to be a pro first, right?
yeah,
So you ought to figure out, we ought to help you figure out, what does it take to actually qualify as a pro? So you've got that official certification so that you can apply, right? And
yeah.
then,
Because I think it's different from UCI. I mean, you don't. It's not a because it goes U23 and then elite. Like, what is it
yeah,
for?
right. That's exactly what in triathlon. Triathlon does not give a crap about. In fact, it's explicitly against UCI. That's well, except for UCI triathlon, like drafting triathlon, short distance. But to become a pro triathlete, you have to finish 3 races within 10% of the time of the overall winner.
Oh, okay.
And then you can't do it just once. And it's got to be a race of over like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 participants or something like that. So like an Ironman, half Ironman, a big Olympic, the Kima races that we used to do,
Yeah.
one that had enough people. And then they don't call it a pro license. It's what you said. They call it an elite license. Yeah. So,
So
but you won age group last year, and that was a year ago, and you're a whole year better in college racing now. So I was like, and so there's an open category.
yeah, it's September Open, so it's pro.
That's their version of pro.
Yeah, pro.
So
I
you
mean, there are pro racers that race it.
That's how, yeah, if you were a pro officially, like a real pro, apparently whatever it takes to be that,
Yeah,
that's what you would have to race, right?
yeah. We've had. I know for sure Cole Patton has raced.
Mhm.
He did the Rocky Hill race. It was the year that we were there.
Mhm.
That super muddy course. And I bet a few other people.
Yeah. So yeah, then
Oh, Payson's done it. He did the Paladero Canyon race. He was,
oh wow.
yeah. Well, he used to live in Austin,
Yeah.
so he's probably done a bunch of these.
So in triathlon, it's like bad taste, bad form to like win your age group constantly and not move up to pro.
Mhm.
If you're in that age group, like my age group, we're beyond pro now, but like your age group, once you start winning your age group all the time, it's like, dude, race pro. Come on, like get out of
Yeah,
this age group. You're too good.
yeah. It was like at the some of the collegiate races, there was a guy he was too good to be in C's. Like he was demolishing everybody, and they're like, dude,
Yeah.
what? Just he like Ben, the race director, was like, we're moving him up to B's.
So yeah, I think the fact that you won that age group last year is a really good indicator that you're close to being pro. And then I did, all I know is triathlon. I did the triathlon math, and you finished just barely over 10% of the time of the race finisher at the Austin Rattler, which would be a pro qualifier race. I mean, that thing was freaking huge.
Yeah, there were guys from Colorado. The
Yeah.
winner was Colorado.
Yeah. So if that was like if the same rules applied to mountain biking as to triathlon, then yeah, you would be on your way to being pro. That'd be one race out of the 3. But then I looked at your time. No, I looked at my time, and it took me, what did you finished the Austin Rattler 60 miles in 4:51?
I think.
You know your time?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, 4:51. And my time for finishing the Fredericksburg, like 40 miles, was like 4:45 or 4. You almost beat my time doing the Fredericksburg race. So 20 more miles in the same amount of time. And that's what I noticed about you guys was you guys at the front at the Austin Rattler were starting to lap the normal people. And those laps were 20 miles long. And I was like, oh my God, how do you do that? And it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
told me
once
that one time. What was your famous advice to me to be a better mountain biker? Do you remember?
just go faster.
Yeah. You're like, Dad, it's easier if you just go faster. I was like,
Well,
oh, okay.
I mean,
Sure.
over the technical stuff, I mean, if you're going slower, it's more bumpy.
I know, but it was so funny. It was like, I am trying to go fast, go as fast as I can, dude.
And for gravel also, I mean, if you just go faster, It's not as hard on your body,
Mhm.
and it's
On a podcast I was listening to, they explicitly said that I think it was gravel biking and like suspension for gravel bikes and stuff. And they
yeah.
said one of the reasons the faster racers often don't have suspension is they're going so much faster, it actually smooths out the bumps.
Yeah, well, you were wanting me to get all this suspension stem and everything. I'm like, I guess I just don't feel what you're talking about, I guess.
Yeah, because people like a washboard on a road, if you drive a certain speed kind of slow, it'll just rattle your car to death. And the way to handle it, actually drive faster as long as you're not in a turn. And then now you're riding across the tops of the washboard, and your tires don't have time to go down and up. They just float across the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so your next race is Fredericksburg, Hugoland,
Yeah.
and you're going to race Open, Pro, and that'll open you up for overall prizes too, right?
Yeah.
And you've won at some Timbra, the shorter races. You got podium, won some cash, right? Gas
Yeah.
money. So this is a possibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
I
wonder
think I might have. I don't think I got any money from that race last year, but I might have.
Hmm.
But I mean, at that Rocky Hill Ranch race that we did with Texas Devo, I mean, the top guy got it was close to $1,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
All right. That'd buy
yeah,
you a power meter, dude.
it would.
Okay. So do you have a plan for a race after that? Is it going to be gravel races in this? I know we want to do Heiko, Gravel Locos.
Yeah.
Right? But that's
Well,
okay.
the first one is the excruciation exam.
Then you want to do that one?
Yeah.
And then yeah, you did really well in that one last year too, right? Didn't you get like third or fifth or something like that?
I got first for the age group and maybe fifth overall. I don't know. I don't.
So people ought to look this thing up. This is the craziest race you've ever heard of. It's kind of like the Belgian waffle ride stuff where it's madness. You ride one mountain bike park, so you need a mountain bike.
Yeah.
Then you ride a mix of paved and gravel roads, like 30 miles,
Mm-hmm.
or at least 25 miles, like to another mountain bike park, ride that mountain bike park, turn around, and then ride back on the open road, which puts picks back into it again. And then it's like when you leave the mountain bike park the first time, you want to leave like in a group, right? If you leave and you're not in a group, which is hard to do mountain biking, right? To be with that front pack, because when they hit the road, it's going to be pack racing, like road racing
Mm-hmm.
to the next mountain bike park. And then you ride that next mountain bike park and then ride back. And then when you get back, you still have to ride the first mountain bike park, half of it all over again. And it ends up being like a 70, 80, 90 mile race or something like that on mountain bike.
Around 7 miles. Yeah. It's like 73 miles.
Yeah. And it's in January. It's like freezing. Well, last year we did it. It wasn't too bad, right? It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've done it before where it was in the 20s. We started off below freezing.
Yeah. So last year I did it on my mountain bike with gravel tires. Remember that?
Yeah. And it ended up being okay.
That was a mistake.
It was a mistake. It was kind of wet.
Because I went into it thinking, like on the road section, it's so much road, and if I'm by myself, you definitely want those gravel tires, like slick tires.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a pack, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Because then you lose the benefit of having mountain bike tires on trails.
Right. And so the strategy would be to use mountain bike tires. That way, you can, when you are with a pack, when you leave the mountain bike park, you've managed to hang with them.
Yeah.
And then now that you're with that pack, you draft off of each other. And it doesn't matter that you got mountain bike tires because you're in the draft.
Yeah. So hopefully you're in a pack.
Yeah. But I've been out there on my own. This is one race where people put aero bars on mountain bikes, literally, like some people do at Leadville, right? There was 4 of us last year that had aero bars on our mountain bike to be out on the open road. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. That's your next race at Texas State. Are you going to do any road racing, or you got to get a road bike first if you're going to do any of that?
Yeah, I've got to get a road bike.
And then with that Shimano crank recall, have you gone by the Trek shop and have you collected my crank from them, or do I need to call them?
No, they haven't mentioned it to me.
They're probably trying to take it. Yeah, we need to do something with that crank, see if we can put it on a bike or get your crank double cranked on your gravel bike or something, or get you a road bike.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, sponsors, right? So being a college student, and also having been on some teams, what are some sponsors that you've had? And what are some sponsors that like the Texas State team? And like next year racing, are you going to race in Texas State gear? Or are you going to race in like Williams Racing Academy gear or what?
Um, yeah, being on the Texas Devo team, we've had a bunch of sponsors like ESI grips, Cav helmets.
Those are those 3D printed helmets?
Yeah, those are the 3D printed helmets.
Yeah.
Orange Seal, which was a huge deal. But yeah, for next year, I don't know
Texas
yet.
State team is sponsored by Earth Burger.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
We went and ate there. It was all right, I guess. It was pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know yet.
Would you be
Maybe.
proud to wear your Texas State gear?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would. I don't have any. All I have is that hand-me-down jersey right now, though.
Yeah.
So
Wear my
they,
A&M jersey at some races and people say stuff. They're like, "Oh, that's so cool."
yeah, they
Yeah.
should be coming in next week, though. That's what Joseph said.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't have anything lined up yet with another team for next year.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll see.
I think you got a lot going on with college and everything. So you don't really need to be on a team so much as much as you're already on a team. You're on Texas State, and
Hmm.
then they give you a lot of liberty. You can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then we're on the prowl looking for improvements in gravel bike, right? Because your gravel bike is currently a single front chainring, and we think a double front chainring is better for pro racing.
Yeah. Road gearing is probably better.
Yeah, and then also a road bike for training and racing out there. Your mountain bike's pretty much covered, right? You got an awesome mountain bike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Definitely a bike sponsor would be nice.
it would be really nice. Really nice. Yeah. I think you definitely deserved it. So those are some really great results. People don't know about them as much because they're not, you've gotten first place in so many, at first in podium in so many races, but they're races that aren't the most famous races. So a lot of people don't know about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bike sponsors are always the best, and wheels are always nice.
Yeah.
You're riding a Cantu wheels, which actually we got at a after the Gravel Locos race, El Camino race. You won those.
Hmm.
Those are carbon race wheels. Those are sweet.
They're awesome. I love them.
Yeah. All right. Well, dude, it's been awesome having you on the show.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
If people want to reach out to you to ask you questions or cheer you on or talk to you about sponsorships or anything or social media kind of stuff, or how do they get in touch with you?
Probably just DM me on Instagram, which is Kai Blankner 14, or email me at kaiblankner14@gmail.com.
All right, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, keep it up.
All right. Will do.
All right. That is our interview with the amazing Kai Blankner. I think he'll come home over Thanksgiving and then over Christmas, and we'll get some long bike rides in together, building volume. It ends up working out pretty great because my long bike ride speed is the exact speed he needs to build volume. And then we can talk about more of his plans, and we have some gravel races coming up. And will he go pro? I don't know. I mean, he wants to. And it's a cool thing. You get to say that you were pro for the rest of your life. You say, I was a pro bike racer. You're like, ooh. You only need to be one briefly for you to say you were one for the rest of your life. It's like an Ironman. And I think it's kind of funny. My goal, I always envisioned him being a superstar triathlete, if that's a sport that he wanted to get into. But he really didn't like to swim so much. He didn't want to be on swim team. And then his high school didn't have a swim team. And then when we found the mountain biking, it just lit him up. And honestly, being a triathlete in high school and maybe even in college, it's too much, man. It's too much time taken up. And it's better just to have a single sport for a while. But you never know. Some people are able to do it. But this is also the time in your life where you actually need to have a life. And he definitely enjoys doing that. He's got a great group of friends and a girlfriend. So mountain biking and gravel racing is plenty right now. It's definitely enough. And he could switch sports. He could play tennis, basketball, whatever. Doesn't matter. As long as he does something and he enjoys it, then I'm happy. So yeah, that's the story of how we accidentally built a spectacular mountain biker, accidentally on purpose. And you could tell it took a great mix of himself, quality coaching, and then also the right environment, supportive environment at home, knowledgeable environment at home to be able to say, oh, you want to actually win? Here, This is the fuel you need. This is the bike you need. These are the tires that actually make a difference. This is the kit that'll take 1 minute off your time and move you up from second to first. Oh, you don't feel good? Do you have a fever? No? Oh, you could probably still work out. Just do an easy bike ride. Oh, you have a fever? Don't work out. Oh, let's take a break for a little bit. It's fine. You'll actually be faster after a few days to a week off. Hey, you've got a race coming up in 2 weeks. This is the weekend for you to do some big volume, and then let's sharpen the blade. These things all add up. So if you like that story and you want to do a little bit of this for yourself, again, remember, you can reach out to me and get coached the ZenTri way using training peaks, heart rate, GPS, power meter, sit down and work out your goals, work backwards from your race date to now and figure out the workouts that you need and how to schedule it in with your life. And we can turn you into the endurance superstar that you've always wanted to be. Just send an email to texafornia@gmail.com with coaching in the subject line of the email, and we'll get started. $199 a month. The best high quality, real coaching out there for a fantastic price. And oh yeah, you got a good deal on a road bike? It sounds like Kai's looking for one. Or you want to hit him up or me up for some sponsorship on this podcast or on his racing successes, let us know. We can advertise your product, your service, or your event on this show. I only charge $100 a month for that. And I don't know, it sounded like Kai was open for business as well to work with some sponsors and maybe promote them on social media as he's clocking up some wins on the local circuits. It definitely looks like there's a lot of success ahead. All right, so that's it, everybody. Next episode, we're going to go to Fredericksburg and race the marathon mountain bike event. I believe it's 44 miles. It is epic. It is hard. It is 3 laps. So we'll go all through how we execute that and how I'm going to do it self-supported like I did last year versus Kai, who's a legitimate potential winner at the front, how he gets all of his fuel and water as he goes through the aid stations. It'll be really interesting. We had a great time last year. Should have a great time again. All right, everybody stay safe out there. Work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Out. Oh, you hear that? That's fun.
Yeah.
I wonder how many comments we're going to get that we have the same voice.
And they're not going to be able to tell who's who.
Yeah, who's who? Who is this? Who am I?
Copy. This guy speaking.
Oh, we were going to fool them. You should have said that you're me, and then I'll try to pretend to be you.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and do that. Go ahead. It'll make for good content.
All right. This is Brett Blankner. We'll be interviewing Kai Blankner.
Who are you with? I got to go out and ride my bike. I got time for this. I got to drive my giant lifted Xterra around.
It's not that big.
Well, I've been busy going to class and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm
good.
I don't have time for this, so let's get this over with, man. And my girlfriend's showing up later. We got stuff to do. So, and you don't clean your bike enough.
You know, I got made fun of at the shop because you don't clean your bike enough, right?
You got made fun because I don't clean my bike enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was known for having the dad that doesn't take care of his bike at all.
Well, I got a reputation. I gotta fulfill.
That's not a good reputation.
Everybody cleans their bike, dude. It'd be the guy that doesn't clean their bike. I clean the bike that matters, the triathlon bike. The rest of them are just for training.
Not enough.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.